First impressions are not everything, but they are something. I know that seems pretty vague, but it is true. I mean, we take stock of first impressions. It's why we wear a tie for a job interview or dress up for a first date. My first impression of my wife was that she was this good-looking Italian girl rocking it at ping pong. My second impression was that I couldn't be around a girl that beat me at everything. I mean, she destroyed me at ping pong. And that was her first impression of me. This guy stinks at ping pong. He's a nice guy, kind of goofy, and friend-zoned. So how do we get from that first impression to 13 years of marriage and 2 kids? The first impression, it didn't win the day. It was something, but it wasn't everything. And to be honest, this is your first impression of me. I mean, who is this random guy on TV talking to you about Jesus? Am I going to have to do a lot of homework? And am I going to have to know a bunch of answers to a bunch of Bible questions? Right now is a first impression of this experience. Maybe we're rocking it. Maybe we're struggling. First impressions are not everything, but they are something. That's why I love the first impression of Jesus in the Bible. While there's a lot of debates about who Jesus actually was and what his death means for us today, and arguments about whether or not he rose from the dead or believed himself to be God, there are a few facts that pretty much everyone agree with. That Jesus was a real historical figure. That he was born in the 1st century AD in the area called Palestine. That Jesus was a Jew born in the midst of the Jewish nation who was awaiting for a new king to be born and usher in this golden age of the Jews. That pretty much everyone believes and knows. He died on a cross. His followers claim that he rose from the dead. They dedicated their lives to carrying on his way of life, and they call that the kingdom of God. And we pretty much know that that small sect of Judaism has now grown to encompass 2 billion people in our world who worship Jesus as God in the flesh. These are widely agreed upon facts amid both Christian and non-Christian scholars. Yet this is probably not your first impression of Jesus and his followers. Maybe you grew up Catholic and the Catholic school and church was your first impression. Maybe you grew up in a very conservative and legalistic and hypocritical home, and that was your first impression. Maybe you saw Jesus people standing in picket lines protesting gay marriage or abortion, and that was your first impression. These are hard first impressions to overcome. If you go back to the first impression of Jesus, you find the first question he asks and the first invitation he gives. Jesus' first question is really simple. He says, "What do you want?" And as you enter into this journey of discovering who Jesus is, you need to take a moment and consider this question. What do you want? Or what do you hope happens out of this experience? I don't know what that is for you. Only you can answer that question truthfully and honestly. But whatever it is, I love Jesus' first invitation. Come and see. This is the first invitation he gives to people. He doesn't say, come and believe or come and give, not even come and obey or come and learn. It is to come and see, to explore, to check out Jesus and his teachings and his way of life in order to make the best judgment on who he is, on what he did, what his kingdom and way of life is supposed to be about, and what this made for more life is that he promises. My ask of you is simple, that whatever your first impression has been, don't let it be the end of the story with Jesus, but only the beginning. Over the next 12 weeks, we're going to end each video by each group discussing these 3 questions. What do you like about this passage or find challenging? What did you learn from this passage about God or yourself? And lastly, what are you going to do in response to what you have learned? And so each week, take some time in your group to discuss these 3 questions and see what you discover about Jesus along the way.